There's a level of things that I can do, and that is not one.
Oh, go on.
Just because I have the power to Photoshop mean things, one does not simply Photoshop memes,
They
especially of
have to do
oneself.
well time, don't they?
They do
Unless, of
have to do
course,
well
you can
time.
make your own meme, like sliding into the ring.
Say like, isn't this show our own meme? There are so
Well,
many. I mean, there are layers upon layers of inside jokes of this show. There is 92 episodes worth of inside jokes, some of which we haven't brought back since like the first 10 episodes.
like most of our guests,
That's I'm not in charge of guests. That's not my field.
they just wander off. We let them out of the pen, and they just wander off. They don't come back.
I make sure that this doesn't blow up, and been doing a pretty good job lately.
So far, anyway.
Waits for it
But
to crash.
good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game One Player Self podcast, episode 42 of season 2. I am Lardteamaker, aka Will McKellar, and joining us with the controls in full force is James Atkinson.
Hi everybody. Chris's picture was there. Sadly, he can't make it tonight. He's off doing whatever Chris does. Ever since he shook the tracker I put on him, so I can't tell you where he is or what he's doing. All I know is that he's probably up to no good. Knowing him.
Well, as soon as you see what happens when you let him out of the basement, the power goes, and he's just.
So we are going back. So this is season 1 memes. That's what we're doing. We're going back to season 1 now, huh?
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to do some callback because we're getting towards the 100.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of there wasn't last week. Like
no, the beard was gone.
The beard was
coming
gone.
back though.
It's like almost a beard with me and stubble for Will.
Yeah, it's coming back though. You can see it's definitely coming back.
Yeah, no, it's coming back. Yeah, Chris is. This is true. Chris is always up to no good. It is assumed that we just assume Chris is doing something, but also at the same time. Yeah, of course we're talking about Hurg. Sorry, Hurgleman. Sorry, we're on the show. Hurgleman. Hurgleman is up to no good. Always. 100% of the time. I mean, there's always a chance that he could just break in break in the back door like the freaking Kool-Aid guy, and just at the end of the show.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Hurgleman. I mean, I can almost do a Hurgleman. Yeah, it's Chris. I'm James. That's Will. He also goes by Lardteamaker. Chris goes by Hurgleman. Yeah. Oh, cool. Sorry. Surprise! If he didn't tell you, his name is Chris.
Could do the surprise before. It's like surprise.
It's almost like I should actually use our real names and not like our online personas underneath the videos. So when people are like, why is he calling that guy Will?
Yeah, he's Lard, isn't he? I mean, but what? Why? What? I don't know. He's like, just don't know. He's like, we do it to confuse. So yes. On tonight's show as well, by the way, there's going to be plenty of ooh, and
and boy, lots of boys.
And boy, and
lots of boy. Okay, yeah, no, and lots of boy, and I'm like, wait, that's context.
That sounds wrong. That sounds very wrong.
Really wrong. I mean,
no context optional in this. No. That's full context.
That's the 1,000 subscriber stream. If you need context for that one, watch episode 50.
Yeah,
that's a 10 out of 10 episode.
Oh yeah, full on 10 out of 10 episode. Yeah. That one is. So there's tonight's show news. We have the news. We have what we've been playing. We have an update on the trophy challenge. which is heated up quite considerably over the past 3 weeks, let me assure you. And shout outs, and that's about it, because we don't have a draft because no one sent any questions in for a draft for us. So we have to wait and see.
I mean, we could always do something on the fly. We'll figure that out. If somebody wants to come up with us to randomly pick things for based in video games, like a mock draft, like we've done the last couple of weeks, please just throw it in chat. If we think it's funny enough, we'll do it live.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That's how we do it. So, I guess I should go into announcer voice and start with the announcements, since we've actually opened the show in earnest. Hi, welcome to the Game Won't Play Itself. Let's go over the first few announcements. First of all, thank you for joining us. As always, you can find us on the Game Will Play Itself at twitchtv.com, but also on your various other podcasting services if you prefer to listen to our voices and not actually look at our faces. You can also be found at youtube.com since the Game Will Play Itself. Going forward from that, we also have recently Hurgleman has recently launched a Tigwhippies merch store. Surprise! There you can actually get things like Lard breakdancing and the Hurgleman face. And I don't have something yet, but I'm working on something, I think. Yes, I need artists that I need to commission to do stuff. So if you know artists that want to commission and want to deal with the fact that I don't like talking to people a lot of the time.
Your sort of face hiding them.
Right. So we have a merch store. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I see how it is. See, I mentioned commissions, and the artists in the chat are like, "Hi guys, commissions? What? You guys need me to draw stuff? We can talk. Art?
Yeah.
Things that I do not do. Art.
Things that neither of us do, really. We just talk about
it's really.
Well, I just had an idea. It's like, and so people go, "That's your first for a year, Lard, isn't it?" Which I go, "You cheeky bastards!" And then, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Moving on from that, we have that. Other announcements. Twitch Prime, but if you listen to the opening, there's a whole thing about Twitch Prime, but obviously Twitch Prime is a thing that you can do with Amazon. Just Google how to do Twitch Prime, because you probably already have Prime because you tried it because you wanted to see season 1 of Handmaidens, and it worked out really great, but you got charged $99, and if you really got charged $99 but accidentally, you should probably go back and call them because they're really good about returning that thing. But in the meantime, if you'd like to, you can actually subscribe to your favorite streamers for free using Twitch Prime. They get half of the revenue, the other half of the revenue goes to Twitch, but it's a great way to support your friendly local hood streamers. If you want to do it for us, we'd really appreciate it. It helps us bring you quality content like this. You can laugh. That's fine. I don't have the laugh track yet. I'm pretty sure the Cosby Show still that.
Yeah, we don't want to touch anything from the Cosby Show just yet.
No, the proof was in the pudding, though.
Yeah, because you see you next time eating the pudding.
Too soon? Pushing, getting there. Anyways, but if you want to use it on us, that's great. If you want to use it on other quality people, go right on ahead. They have to be an affiliate at minimum for you to be able to give them stuff. But hey, that's cool. Also, bits. Watch ads. Give people bits. It's kind of cool. You can give them like up to $5. It's like 5 cents. So yes. Pretty cool. A lot of cool stuff. Do that. Support your local streamers. If you like streamers, you can also shout them out in the chat. We're really big at name dropping people. We'll usually do it at the end. Also, the one other thing leading back to the merch. If you get something, because apparently people have bought stuff.
Yes,
that's what people tell me. I'm not involved in that side of the thing. But if you bought it and you want to take pictures of it, we will feature them on the show.
If you want to go if you want to go on my feed, there has been one I have been posted a picture of. She got the mug yesterday.
Well,
the mug is here. Yes.
Did she take a picture of the mug?
She did.
Why didn't you tell me this so I could have, I don't know, used it in the opening to the show?
But we drop it in now while we're talking about the merch.
Yeah, but I also don't have anything prepared to like flash it on the screen really cool and technically like.
We don't do professional, you know this by now.
It's going to make it look like even worse of a hack job.
And?
I'm good. Yeah. Don't worry, we're here for you. We're here. There will be a lot of boy memes. Yeah. Also, if you've joined our Discord, which by the way, if you don't, you should. It gets pretty hilarious sometimes. there has just been Kratos memes. I've been very big on getting tons of Kratos memes, and just spamming it. And that was the one you were looking for, the boy. Good.
Boy.
I have been cultivating all of the Kratos memes I could. Obviously, my favorite right now,
Mm-hmm.
is let's see, put that down. What is it saying? My favorite right now, obviously, is Dad Fit. What is it? Dad Disappointment Simulator 2018.
Yes.
That is my favorite one because it ultimately is.
And
Considering,
speaking of things like Discord as well, just to pop in as well, one of the big things to help us as well become bigger is tell your friends if you like the podcast. Because, share it around.
good. All right, yeah, no. Like I said, if you ever find any memes, I mean, within taste, but if you're looking for them, I cultivate them. So if you're looking for a specific meme that I have posted or you think you've seen, I probably have seen it, and can help you find it. Because I'm all about the memes. Because I also have a job that affords me the time to actually browse things looking for me. Yeah. Also, we will talk about God of War, but we will not spoil any God of War tonight. I do understand that it has only been a week. Not even a week since. No, it's been a week since the game released. So what do we do? Like, we at least give like what? Like, is it like a 2 or 3 week embargo we do on games?
No, if we've got through a lot of it, we will possibly talk about that idea, or we'll talk
But
about
I'm
that.
talking about like story embargo, like talking about the like actual story points.
Mm. We won't do that, especially because if there's any big spoiler bits, unless of course it has been out for a while. They're fair game, but
And we will also, if it is spoilers, I will tell you because I can do mild edits right now. I will put a gigantic spoilers across the screen if we're talking about them. And then that way you can like know not to mute us. And then just really watch the pantomime go on because I imagine that'd be pretty interesting just watching the two of us talk about things and get really animated because we're really happy about the game that we're playing.
and the safety mime that you can come back after the spoilers is this.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. We will always give you a warning if we talk spoilers, but tonight is not going to be a God of War spoilers type of an episode. Will's beaten it. I haven't. Mainly because I'm treating this game much in the way I treated Horizon Zero Dawn. And speaking of which, might as well let's just transition right into talking about God of War since we're there. I'm treating this game much as I have treated Horizon Zero Dawn, which is going in completely blind and just enjoying it and not listening and playing it in a vacuum. Which just means I have not watched or like any of my normal stuff. Because spoiler alert, Kratos kills things. Truth. I mean, that I kind of knew. That, like, going into that, it was like, I had a guess that there might be some violence.
Here is a spoiler, right? I'm not going to whisper this one, so you may have to turn your speakers up a little bit for this, but he gets a bit angry.
Yeah. Not as angry as he has in the past, though. Also, he has completely affirmed that the older you get, the bigger your beard should become.
Oh, Triple H looks like more like bloody Kratos than anything else. Watching the Greatest Rumble earlier, and it was like, bloody hell, when did Triple H become bloody Kratos?
Yeah, but the amount of steroids that Triple H probably takes on a daily basis probably makes Jose Canseco go, fucking dude, chill.
Now we can neither confirm nor deny that Triple H is on the juice. That's allegedly.
But look at his head. Barry Bonds' hat size grew 4 times. Your head doesn't grow once you grow up.
It has been alleged by other wrestlers as well in other podcasts, but I'm not saying if yes or no because we don't want to get into the shit on this one. But yeah, Kratos. God of War. Let's go into that, because then we can start with what we've been playing. So we might as well talk about God of War, because we both played it, as you said.
Yeah,
I've completed it,
I
loved it.
haven't. I'm
You're
enjoying it.
partly
Yeah,
into it.
I'm partly into it. I don't know how long the game is going to be for me.
Mhm.
If it's like my Horizon Zero Dawn experience, I will be enjoying the world, loving running around into it, but I'll hit like a point somewhere around the 20-hour mark, 20 to like 30-hour mark, where I'm like, fuck this, I just want to beat the game now, and I'll just go and beat the game. Um, the
I don't think
problem,
it'll be like that.
yeah, but the problem is with this game for me is that it has RPG elements and armor collecting. And I kind of have a thing for that stuff. It's the real reason why I played Destiny. And like Ni no Kuni and like Diablo stuff. Like, that's kind of my jam. So it's like, oh, look, you can go to the plane of fire and lava. By the way, there's a plane of fire and lava. I don't think I'm surprising anybody there. If you know anything about Norse mythology, if you watched Thor Ragnarok, you know.
Not yet, but I've known enough games and I've known enough mythology to know that you're gonna if a game doesn't have ice world or fiery world levels, then there's something wrong, or
But
it
if
just
there's a
throws your
water
mind off.
temple, you can go fuck yourself. Always the worst. Hands down. Any game. Water temple sucks balls. Nobody
The
has
thing,
ever done a fun water temple.
the thing that gets me in it is when you're looking for these stuff, the collectible items, and you have to work out pathways, and it takes you away from the main bit. Because here's the thing, right? You always hear the character that you would be with, where no matter what the game is, trying to go over here, or why not do this, why not do that? And every time, even though you know they can't hear you because it's a game, you turn around and go, hang on, I'm looking this way.
I mean,
Every time.
they do that with Atreus too. But the thing is, too like Atreus acts his age. Sorry, let's be real here. From the boy's name is Atreus, but we're just gonna call him Boy for the rest of the thing. You'll get why, Boy. So,
Boy.
Boy, kind of does help you, but they're like, there's just moments in the dialogue that are very kind of things like, he picks up when a situation where he becomes very disenfranchised with his father, almost to the point where he's like sulking. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Carry that crystal around with you all the time?" He goes, "Yes, if I must, I will." What? That wasn't a spoiler.
No, there's no, because I was covering myself for not wanting to spoil it, because I was tempted just to say something there. It's like,
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of sassy dialogue between Boy and Kratos. Um, just slide on in. It's all good. You haven't gotten it far. We're just talking God of War. No spoilers, God of War.
you just did a Titus O'Neill.
Just kind of right in.
Slide underneath.
Um, I'm happy there aren't any cosmetic things to buy for this game. I know like people were just waiting to have those cosmetics for that beard. You could have done so much. Now you're gonna have the rainbow beard. 99 cents and Kratos can get his classic goatee. Nah. First of all, why would you ever change that thing? That thing is fucking majestic.
Yeah, he really looks the part of a grumpy dad.
Also, and this is something I've been thinking about, and I almost wrote something for our website on this.
Ooh.
And I'll talk a little bit about it here, and if you guys feel that it's something more that we need to build upon, we'll talk about it. But looking at God of War, which is kind of following the whole let's reboot a franchise by just calling it what it was way back in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it very well encapsulates the maturation of not only video games but also people who play video games and make video games. Yeah, we have a website, surprise. There's not much has happened on it, but sure, somebody can get you the link. It's out there. But you look at the first God of War, right? And I'm gonna spoil the first 10 minutes of gameplay here, which everybody has seen at this point. So, okay, spoilers. If you don't want the first 10 minutes spoiled, literally the first cutscene you watch in the game, stop now. Mute. Okay? But I'm going to talk about God of War 1 first, and then we're going to bring it back to current God of War. The first 3 Gods of War pump you right into the action. Just immediately you're in a war, you're fighting, you're Kratos. Yep. You are just like in it. You've had not seen it? Well, are you planning on playing it? I mean, if you've watched any of the gameplay demos, this is the gameplay demo, the first 10 minutes. I'm not going to spoil it to the point where it's going to ruin the entire story for you. It's mainly basic because if you've seen any advertisements for God of War, you know what they're doing. This just sets up what they're going to do. You know they're taking Mom's ashes to the realm, to the highest peak in the realm. Everybody knows that, so it's just part of that. Going back to it, you look at God of War 1. It's built upon like just violence right away. 2 and 3, same thing. Deep, engrossing stories in each, but predicated on revenge, violence, Kratos just being the ball of hatred that he is. It's just, that's what it is. And like I said, they're mature stories, but they're kind of almost feel like the mature stories that you would tell as like a high schooler. Mainly focused on like the violence and the cool death animations and, oh yeah, I went into like the hot tub with these hot girls and I got all my health back. Right? So it's kind of seems like it's like high school level cool. And
Yes.
and really it is. It's high school level like awesomeness. Move on now. That game, when did God of War 1 come out? 04?
No, the first God of War was on PS2.
So it was
Yes, it was
like early 2000s.
Yeah, it was early 2000s. You're right. Yeah.
Right. So now, in the early 2000s, God of War comes out. I'm gonna say, but so it's been over a decade, maybe over even 15 years since that. I'm just once again throwing random numbers out, just trying to. But there's been a lot of those people who played God of War at 12, 10, 12, 15. I mean, it was a mature rated game. I hope not, but let's all be real. We were all playing GTA really young anyways. At 15 are now 28, 29, 30, 31. And I think what the genius is now from going from God of War to God of War to God of War New versus God of War Old is that now they're telling a story that it has the extreme violence you're used to, but it's from a different angle. Because a lot of those gamers who were high schoolers and just going like, yeah, this is cool, are now adults. And some of them are even parents in their own right. So now they're telling a story based on somebody of the character that they've grown up with, now going and being in a situation that they are now used to. And dealing with loss. I mean, the first 2005.
2005.
So like 12 years. Yeah, no, it's over 15 years.
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years. So it's been a while. So you have a lot of maturation. The people who love these characters have matured in their own right. And now, the first scene in God of War is like you busting out of a prison and murdering and like talking about Kratos committing suicide.
Yep.
The first scene in New God of War is cutting down a tree for his wife's funeral pyre. Or who assumes to be his wife. I don't know any different yet, so it's his wife's funeral pyre. And they're like, press circle to attack and murder enemies. Like, you're learning how to attack by using the axe against the tree to cut it down. So the tone is hugely different, but it's also it's telling a more mature story. And you can see how it's like Kratos, who's known all of these things, is evolving as a parent on his own right, trying to come to terms with his grief and his loss, but also on how to be be a parent or a single parent to this child that he knows but he doesn't know. And that speaks a lot to what a lot of people who grew up with Kratos in the beginning are now living with, being adults, being gamers, having responsibilities, wanting to play this game, but also maybe having children, understanding what it is to be a parent, having a great, in balancing act between these things. And it's a very interesting kind of idea that like the same kind of group of people are now making this next game and maturing it. And also now people are now coming to this new, me, we're coming to this new to kind of understand this kind of thing, and thinking about like what the early 2000s were and the mid 2000s were for games and what we're looking at now. The story, I don't know if it's because the graphics are now, but like the first person story games are much more in depth, much more gripping, and are telling much more emotionally driven stories. And I think that speaks to the consumer that are buying these games. We don't want the one-off Call of Duties that just have a single player that's just, showing you what your cool guns could be when you prestige at level 50. We want something in depth to draw us in, to tell a story, to tell a long driven narrative with characters we care about who are having emotions and feelings and things that we all care about, that we can openly relate to. I mean, for me, look at some of these games. Hellblade Setsuna, a character emotionally driven, deep story about, drive and stuff like that. God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn to an extent. These are all these great first person games or single player games are really good and really well driven narratives. And a few months back on the show I talked about when I had my 10-minute rant. I said that what we're going to see with first person games is that there's going to be less of them, but they're going to have a higher standard of quality. And you can kind of start to see that. EA going away from first person, only focusing on multiplayer. Certain other ones, but the people who are driving for the first person genre and who aren't also skimping by adding a multiplayer mode because they thought a multiplayer mode would work, really helps kind of build that in. And you're seeing these great games. And obviously, everybody's been talking about God of War is definitely a Game of the Year contender. Being only as far as I am in the game, even I can see that. And there's a lot to like about the game. I feel like the combat could be a little bit more fluid. And the camera is a little clunky at times for me. Mainly because it's because of how up close you are to Kratos, and if somebody's behind you, you have the little red indicator. But that's it.
Yeah.
I would just wish the camera would be pulled back just a slight bit more so I could just see what's happening behind him. But I can understand that. It creates the difficulty of the game. And they didn't want to have the isometric feel that they had with the earlier God of Wars, which is Kratos moving around in a set piece. They wanted you to be more in you are Kratos, and that's why you have the over the shoulder third person camera. And it makes sense in style, and it's a minor gripe in what ultimately is a fantastic game.
You can see influences in there from things like Horizon Zero Dawn. You can see the other studios that Sony have under their the first party umbrella. Little elements seem to be in there from them. The fighting, for example, it looks very sort of. Someone said it's almost Dark Souls like, and I'm like, I have to disagree with that. I think it's a bit more Batmanish. The fighting, even though you're using the shoulder buttons on the right hand side for it rather than X and square and triangle.
I mean, there have been plenty of times where I found myself trying to hit like a square or a triangle in the middle of a combo.
Yeah, because your muscle memory for other games has taught you that's where the buttons are. And so it does throw you off a little bit. And I can understand with the camera angles, they threw me because you have to really sort of flick the screen around again to see where they're coming from before you get hit. But in counter to that, there's the dodge, which helps out tremendously, especially if you time the dodge right, then it helps make the battle more fluid. And I think, again, it's something that will happen the more you do it. because again, you're quite far in
Yeah, but
to it
it's
from where
not
you are.
it's not like The Witcher, where like The Witcher you kind of had you were pulled more back and you could see what was going on and what was going on with combat around him.
Yeah,
Also, I mean, the camera, though, once again, it's a little bit of a detriment. It also plays into it, and it gives Atreus something to do as well. Now, not saying that I mean, also they created a game that you have a companion that isn't total shit and actually is very useful through the majority of the game. But at the same time, if you're so engrossed in your own combat, it's not a detriment because you're not using him. He's an addition to and completely an asset to your combat, and not though you could play the game with never using him in combat once, except for the situations where they call for him.
yeah. I mean, there are some bits where it's handy to change your combat style up a bit,
There
but
is,
again, that's
but at the same time, you don't have to. They make the game very kind of free flow like that. Uh,
and Dark Design is asking, have you noticed the one camera angle as you played?
Yeah, I mean, like the over the shoulder kind of. Well, if you're talking about the one camera angle, yes. If you also talk about the fact that it's fluid, like shot for shot, it is just straight through. Like once you press, like once you pull up the title screen for the first time and you press new game, it goes into the game. The text fades. You're there. That's it. It's game time. And so there's a
Only once in the game have I saw it forced to load something, and that was it. Only once, and that was very, very rare to actually even think about that happening.
the one other thing that I feel, and once again, if we're talking, we're nitpicking in a very good game. I felt that the Wood Witch could have been rendered a little bit better. You see Kratos standing next to her,
Mm.
and it's like somebody was mocapped and airbrushed and put a bunch of detail on, and somebody was mocapped. I mean, there is like a big difference between like Kratos standing next to like, and it's only her. Any of the other characters that show up, maybe because beard, so they didn't have to paint. Like they only had to deal with like this much of the face. But like I felt they could have done more with
Balls
the
on the beard.
yeah with the Wood Witch. She just
Yeah,
looks not as like up close. She doesn't look as well thought out as the other ones.
yeah,
And the dwarves a little bit too, but they're also dwarves, so you can kind of let them get away with that because you know who knows what a dwarf looks like. Fantasy dwarf. Fantasy dwarf.
exactly.
We gotta get there. And also, come on, we all remember what Gimli looked like in the Lord of the Rings fighting games back on the PlayStation 2. Leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds. So, am I happy to play God of War? Yes. I also feel like that it's a game you really want to take your time with because they really do. Thank you for the follow. Also, volumes down or from what it used to be. People may not remember what it used to be like when it was a lot louder. Going back, God of War, is it a game of the year? Yes. Exploration is worth it, but not required. The puzzles are not so complex to really slow down progress, but complex enough to make you want to think, and the axe provides you very interesting ways to deal with it. I've only ever found one chest that I couldn't open via whatever puzzle it had, and it
Mhm.
really didn't bother me too much because it gives you enough material, and it was because it was a chest that didn't provide like the highest level tier of reward that you can only find once.
Yeah,
Um, and there's enough going on that it makes things very interesting. I do find that I did have to step back from the game every once in a while, just because it is such an intensive combat story driven kind of stuff that like coming up for air every once in a while and like stepping away from it and playing something else and coming back to it, it was a very big help. Uh,
yes.
and I would recommend that that's how you play this. Like this is a game that is good in binge sessions, but after the binge session, switch it up, play something a little bit different. Just to switch back, because it'll help you appreciate the game more.
That's kind of what I was doing this week with my stuff, because I was playing it a lot while Gina was streaming, but also playing it a lot while she wasn't. Purely because it wasn't because I wanted to fully rush through as such, even though yes, when she was streaming, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting it spoiled. But it's because of how it drew me in. It drew me into, I want to know more. I want to see what else is going on. Yes, stay hydrated, people, which I was. You just saw me drinking.
Yep, we're very important here about your health. Also, Tigwhippy's looking out for you.
So, to me, I get that binge bit. I get the bit where, and I completely agree. I mean, you're looking at maybe 5 hours tops before you go play something else and then go back to it next day. Because you'll get through quite a lot in that time.
Yeah, you're always there's never a point where I never felt like I was not making progress.
There is bits, and again, spoiler alert, we time to mute mics. And your speakers as well, right? You would have come across this by now. If you were exploring and you fought some enemies, but they had the purple bar. To me, gave them a couple of shots and thought, "Oh, I'm not strong enough. I'll have to come back later." And that's what it did. So it gives you opportunities to come back. It gives you opportunity to explore, which is different.
That's not really a spoiler. That's just
Trust
like
me, Michael might want to know about that. Don't want to know about that stuff.
Michael, sometimes there's more difficult enemies in an area that you can't get to. Like every RPG that's ever existed. That enemy's level 12. I'm only level 4. Probably shouldn't fight that enemy.
The big difference to me between this one and the others is the map. How they've done the game design. It's different in that respect because the other ones were a bit more linear in terms of what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, the map is big enough that it shows you what's going on, but not detailed enough that you can really find, like, oh, that's where the secret is.
Yeah.
The boat control is absolutely horrendous. But then again, you're paddling a boat, and there's no boat combat, so it's not Mako bad.
Yeah.
It also creates some very interesting story moments as well. So traveling and going places and fast traveling, there is fast travel in the game, makes sense. And they don't just leave it for nothing. They actually bring about stuff. Yeah, no, there are definitely moments like that. There's tons of it. I mean, like, the game is built around the kind of the premise of, like, it's got the action, it's got RPG elements, but it goes way back and harkens back to a lot of those old school platformers where it's just like, you don't quite have the ability or power up to do this thing yet, and we're going to sprinkle those around the areas that you go through, so you know that you want to come back to those areas once you have the thing that lets you do the thing.
Because it's all about, in a way, it's kind of like padding the game out for a bit longer for your experience.
Of course, it's definitely a way of padding the game out.
In this respect, though, it's not really a bad thing because it's an enjoyable world.
Exactly, and it is very pretty. And once again, the story moments that they like, kind of the dialogue and the story moments that you would miss out on if you didn't do that, is a big thing too. So they flesh out a lot. There's a lot of lore in the game. It's built upon Norse mythology, obviously, which is really rich. It has a lot of story, a lot of interesting myths, and a lot of interesting stuff happening in it. And it's a good take to it. I find it kind of funny because I watched Thor Ragnarok yesterday for the second time in the middle of playing God of War, and like a lot of the stuff they're I'm like, I get that. That's funny. That's a thing. It's like, I'm in the flame of fire. Oh, yeah. I don't know quite why we have an Australian who's playing, a Norse god, but sure. That's a thing.
And this is the only game where, and I tweeted this at the time, but it's a very rare thing that a game makes me grin from almost ear to ear with moments. And there is one in this game that did that for me. It gave me goosebumps for a little bit because when it started happening. Again, I can't say it though because it is a spoiler.
In 2
It
weeks.
really is a
We'll
spoiler.
talk about. We will do like God of War in memoriam in 2 weeks. Because also it'll be episode 95, so it'll be a perfect time to kind of do that. And
Yeah.
also, like, if you haven't 3 week we've given you 3 weeks. It's almost a month since release. I think at that point, if you haven't spoiled the game for yourself or have other people spoil it for you, it's time for us to do it. Also, Chris won't play it because he doesn't have a PlayStation, so
Yeah.
that's his problem, not ours.
Yeah, get a PlayStation. Sort it out. You can play it, then we can spoil it.
Once again, think of it this way for everybody. We will talk about the story and everything finalized on episode 95. If we're saving you money by doing that, and the reason why we're saving you money is that we're basically going to tell you the story, which means if you don't have $60 to go out and spend on God of War, you will get it for the low price of watching us. Now I know that's it's a tough commitment and a lot of money you got to spend there, like sitting down and watching and dealing with this, that, and this. But I think it's worth it.
And maybe that.
So, God of War, good. Play it. If you can't play it, watch a Let's Play of whatever YouTuber or streamer you like. Because let's be honest, they played God of War because they had to. Because they would have lost revenue if they didn't.
I didn't. This one was for me, and because I knew
one
Gina.
of your favorite streamers or YouTubers. Well, I didn't say your favorite. I said one of.
There was at least two I knew of that were streaming it. There was yourself. You streamed a bit of it.
I played the first hour because I wanted to give everybody a first check of it.
And then Gina played a shit ton of it on there.
I made the call that like this was either going to be a game I was going to stream or I was going to keep for me, and then after the first hour I'm like I can't stream and talk on this game. I really can't. Also, there's enough happening in the game that you'll miss, like a streamer who has to talk constantly during the game would miss a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah. It is so story heavy, it's so lore heavy that to talk all over it as much like ourselves trying to do it, whereas Gina was able to just stop and just let it flow to a point where, yeah, it causes the game a disservice by doing that.
It does do one thing, and this will be my last gripe before you move on to our next segment. It does do one thing for me that I hate that video games do sometimes. It takes some story elements and forces you to read them in a digital, like a text format in a menu.
And the bits I completely avoided.
No.
Yeah, I ain't recognize.
No, because to me it breaks the flow of the game.
Yeah.
Like to physically have to go into a menu to read lore. It just doesn't make any sense in that kind of context.
Yeah, because it's almost like you're going.
Also, let's be real. If anything, Kratos can't read.
Yes,
he is illiterate. This game is very well pretty much put forward that Kratos can't read shit. Good at punching people in the face. Like 10 out of 10. Best skill. Murder. Reading? Not so much. So, like, why have it in a game? Like, what is like Atreus like sitting down at the campfire, like holding the book out and like Kratos just staring at it, just going like, like the dog meme, like, and then they realize the fact that I can't fucking read. Read it to me, boy. Why? 'Cause, boy. Hello.
Hello, Tim.
We just
But
finished
yeah,
talking about God of War.
game of the year definitely contender.
It's
Because
been the only contender for Game of the Year released this year.
oh no, I do beg to differ. No, start what we've been playing through this. That's that. Because the other one I completed in about less than 3 hours ago. We've actually no, not less than 3 hours ago. I completed it this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went on to try and platinum it for the past couple of hours. And that is the Adventure Pals, which is a up to two-player couch co-op game. It's a platformer. It's very cutesy, but the story is full. It's quite humorous and light. But the Adventure Pals on PS4 is a tremendously fun game.
Is it a Game of the Year though?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is because of how well it's been built, level design wise. It's it's fun to actually pay attention to the story because you'll have a laugh at it. It's it is different enough
Is it?
from everything else at the
Is it
moment. Yeah.
gonna beat out God of War though?
If it does, it's going to be very, very close to me. And this is early still. We've still got the rest of the year to go yet.
Thank you. Also, Nino Kuni. That's another game I've been playing.
See, for me, that I can't say that because I haven't played it. So, yeah,
You
that's one
can't
thing
play
I
it
can't
because you
say.
haven't played it.
No, I can't say that it's a game of the year
Oh,
because I haven't.
okay, because I'd be like, I can't play it because I haven't played it. I'm like, well, John Madden, that's really great. Tell me more about football. Does he catch the ball? Does he have to like take the ball into the end zone to score a touchdown?
Well, to do the thing and the thing and the thing.
Help us raise money because if you donate, what we can do is get Will a pad so he can just draw on the screen.
Telestable games.
Telestrate and take Whippy's thing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that I'm Adventure Pals really, really good, really fun. If you like platforming games, you can play it couch co-op. It's a laugh. It really is. There are some RPG elements in there, but very, very.
I don't
So,
know.
well,
Rockstar has had a real sketchy record lately.
ooh, what's that? What's that? What's that?
He said unless they pull a Battlefront 2, I'm already convinced that Red Dead Redemption 2 will win God of the Year or Game of the Year. See,
They're
God of the
gonna
Year.
pull something. They're gonna pull something with microtransactions in it online
Look
part,
at
and
look at
that's
it. Like,
disappointment.
50. Look, somebody had a great comparison that like they had like Vice City stories or like was it Grand Theft Auto stories, which was like one or like three Vice City, San Andreas, and all the DLCs for like $49.99. And then for $49.99 in one of their credit card things, you can buy a car on their online DLC store.
Yeah, it's just
That's, I mean,
that again. That takes the piss.
look, it could be great. Could be absolutely amazing. I'm not saying the Red Dead Redemption isn't going to be like the next best Western since, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Mm.
But the Rockstar track record since Grand Theft Auto has not been good. The only thing we've ever seen come out from out from the company is for them just to generate more revenue on a game that they released 5 years ago, Payday 2, Skyrim, and that doesn't lead to, unless they've been taking that money and funneling it into the development of Red Dead Redemption 2,
Which is very possible.
I mean, it is absolutely possible, but I'm reserving judgment. But the practices that the studio has been doing lately has not given me hope for the game.
We'll see. We'll see what it is. It see if they will put it into a decent story because if it's anywhere like the first Red Dead Redemption, that was very, very good story.
I will say, if Clint Eastwood and or Ed Harris voices anybody in that game, it wins. Like,
You
if
never
Clint
know.
Eastwood voices a major character in that game, it wins. That's it. It's game over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else disagree with me on that point? Number one, you're getting Clint Eastwood to do something with video games. I don't think Clint Eastwood knows what a video game is or really gives a shit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So that's why it deserves Game of the Year at that point.
Just give him a payday and that's it. Hello, Crosshair. How you doing?
They have enough
Welcome to the
money.
podcast.
Hey, Crosshair. They have enough money to pay him. Look at what they've done with GTA Online.
Yeah, and that's what they've made their huge amount of money, and it's in a way it's amazing how they've added to that with the stunt races, with the other stuff online, where it's just it almost feels like they're flogging a dead horse at this point, even though it still seems to be very, very popular. But yeah, to be in the top 10 that long, they're doing something right, unfortunately. If it's microtransactions doing it with, it burns me up inside, but it's a business model they seem to be going with, and I hope they don't do it with Red Dead Redemption 2, because it's not the sort of game it is. It really isn't. But yeah, so what else have I been playing? Well, stream-wise, you would see I've gotten close to the end of Birth by Sleep now. I'm heading towards the final showdown of the second part of the story. You have Ventus, so I've still got Aqua to do before I'm on to
Those are
watching
words.
Decoded.
Those are definitely words in a sentence. It's just nothing. It's Square Enix just always impresses me with like the shit that they can put together to make it sound like a cohesive sentence for a video game name.
Yeah. It's like Dream Draw Distance. Like, what the hell
Dream
does that
Draw Distance Card Battle Extreme Disney Squall Sephiroth Square Enix Cloud nonsense. The third 0.5.2.661. I mean, they probably looked at like Steve Jobs and went, you know what they're doing with Apple releases? We can do that with a video game.
Yeah.
10.1 Jaguar, 10.2 Panther, 10.1.1 Panther Striped. Continue. Sorry.
That's fine. Because I agree. I'm looking at what the hell is like 2.5 final mix, remix, what? It just makes no sense. Just say it's remastered and just be done with it.
It's not Square Enix's way, though.
No, this
They
is true.
secretly want every game to be Deus Ex.
Adam Jensen comes in now. It's like, where is he? He's like, what? Who? What? Sora? Roxas? Ventus? What version do you want?
Which protagonist?
Yeah. So how many do you want? Do you want Mickey? No. I want the duck.
We know my thoughts on Fortnite.
Yeah, don't get him started on Fortnite.
Better than PUBG. That's my thoughts on Fortnite. Better than PUBG.
But I will say I've been getting through Kingdom Hearts a lot easier than Dragon Age Origins, because it just seems to be like I be able to move like 3-4 steps forward into this, and then I get this brick wall of just getting fucked over in fights. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It's almost like one game is made for young adults, the other one is made for more critical thinking adults.
True, but the combat system is completely different as well, because the Dragon Age Origins, you just point and go, and they go for it, rather than you actually having to make the hits yourself, fire off the magic at the right time and then wait for it to cool down and hope you don't die. But the problem is with that, it feels like fighting is unbalanced a lot of the time, more to the enemy AI than you, because you will die a lot, as I have been dying a lot. And it's just like, I've gotten through a portal, I've done a big part of one of the quests, and it still feels early. And I was trying to go to this part I was working on before, the werewolves and the ruins there, and where that werewolf bit was. I can't even get to there because every time I try, something else pops up and it just gets in the way, and I have to slow down. I get killed again. I can't level up quick enough to combat this. There's just no way I can do it. So it feels more of a grind than Kingdom Hearts. Other game that feels like a grind was 10-second Injurex, which I've also streamed. Yeah, that's a rage-inducing game where it's basically like Each level you consists of 10 seconds to kill all the enemies on the screen and get out and do the next level as part of a bigger game. I was raging at that. But in terms of stream games, the only one I'm going to really talk about as well was Sniper Elite, because I've started going through that series. So I went back to the beginning to what was it looks like a PS2 sort of PC early sort of game for that region, and boy, is it a buggy mess. It crashed OBS. It crashed itself. So the mission I was trying, I couldn't complete because it goes. There's part of an objective I'm on the second mission where you have to give cover and fire to the German forces that you're helping against the Russians, because it's the start of the Cold War. This is there to go and blow up some tanks. I kill the enemy. I don't see anybody around to help. So I restart. Same thing again. And I'm thinking, hang on, something's gone wrong here, glitch. Then I restart the level right at the end of the stream, and I start hearing voices of the commanders and telling you the mission that I didn't hear before. So it's easy. It's very, very buggy. I will stick with it so I can get through to 2, 3, and 4, because 3 and 4 look better. And I can use a controller again. Because mouse and keyboard is just still alien to us after all this time. However, stuff off stream, I have been completing a lot of it because played A Way Out with Vicky, which is the game from EA Haze Light, which is the part of the indie program they started a few years ago, where they will fund publishers, they will fund the games from these indie developers, let them get on with it, and all profits go back to the developer. They don't see any of it, which is a good thing from EA, which is very rare. But A Way Out, if you haven't seen it, it's about 2 guys who are in prison, and the start of the story is you have to bust out of prison. Where it goes from that is spoilers, not going to say. Also, God of War
sounds
completed.
like Prison Break, the TV show.
Yeah, it feels like it. And then it starts from there. I thought it was more going to be centered around doing the Prison Break, but no. There is more to it than that.
Aliens. I'm just
it was good. I like the way they've set it up. Because it's from the same people who did Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It does have that feel to it, where you need the help of each other to complement each other to get through the puzzles, and it's simple enough to do the puzzles. There's nothing there too taxing. So to basically fun and just go through the story, let it flow. Also completed Knack 2, which is nowhere near as bad as the first one, even though the first one wasn't awful.
It was a launch title.
Yes, and so they polished it up a bit, made the story a bit better, give it a bit of soul, and it came back better. Started on Jack and Daxter 1 on the PS4, which is like the PS2 game. They wrapped trophies and that around and said, "There, you can play that on PS4. Go do it." And Minecraft Story Mode Season 1, which I'm about 2 episodes in. It's not bad.
Have you been trophy hunting?
I have been a little bit of trophy
That's
hunting,
what I thought.
as you find out when we do the trophy.
Because I obviously don't give a shit about those things.
No, but then again, are you in a challenge with Geo?
That I would be in one to begin with.
Exactly. For what have you been playing, matey?
I played 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
God of War. If you want to hear my thoughts on God of War, go back, like, I don't know, an hour, and listen from there. That'll explain a lot.
Oh, fuck! I forgot the tutorial pop up in Sniper Elite. First mission. Sorry, before I'll let you jump in about the God of War talk. But yeah, the first mission, every sort of 2 or 3 feet, something from the tutorial pops up on screen saying, "If you do this, you should do this." And I'm getting so off of it because I'm in a firefight and it just pops up a handy message of saying if you see bullets coming towards you on your on your map, they all come up as a yellow marker. They don't hit you. If they hit you, it's red. It's like, I know this. Let me fucking fight.
I've played video games. I know how this works.
Someone
Red,
come
bad, yellow, not so much.
yeah. It just wouldn't let me go and actually play the game. So I had to. Someone went, "Can you just turn them off?" It's always like, "Oh, I fucking wish." Then when I looked, I went, "Oh, I can get them off," and then it let me play, which was nice. So yeah, sorry, right? Back to you.
Another hint for developers that really doesn't I don't like when they do that. Like if they're going to like at least pause the game play if they're going to show you a tortilla thing. So like okay, do that. Pause game. I can read this and then get back into action. Also, don't do it like intensely. But I can actually talk about tutorials with one of the other games I played.
Ooh.
BattleTech. BattleTech is based off of the board strategy board game, but now at Paradox Interactive have developed the game and they have released it. And so you have giant mechs, slow moving combat, firing think Mech Warrior, but really slow isometric real-time strategy, or not real-time strategy, turn-based strategy game. You can customize them, create a team, create a background character for the story, bring a character who work as a mercenary organization. You have to manage money, you have to manage a starship, you have to manage, equipment, everything like that. So, everything that makes James happy in the game. Right? Going on from that, it seems like XCOM. Oh, we lost Will. That's fine. You're all stuck with me now. Hi. This is the game won't play itself, featuring James. How are all of you? I'm good. It is a lot like XCOM, but it's like XCOM if you had just giant mechs the entire time. I guess let's since nobody else is here right now. Hi friends. Just giant face James.
Hello.
There you are, you're back.
Yeah, that went weird. It just suddenly everything just paused.
It's the lesser of two evils, James. How am I the lesser of two evils? I'm an asshole. I figure Will would be the lesser of two evils.
Yes.
Granted, like if I crash, this all would just end.
There we go.
There we go.
Now, for some reason, my Twitch has decided to play up, so I will try and get this back in a second. But yeah, sorry, you were saying, matey.
BattleTech.
There we go. Right, BattleTech, yes.
Mechs, big guns, firing at things, murdering stuff. Story based in the BattleTech universe. It's interesting. It's cool. It's kind of like got like this, your nightly thing, but you're like a mercenary company. A lot of stuff. Fun. I played about 2 hours of it because that's how long it took me to get through the 3 tutorial missions before I could actually play like the managing part of it.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. They walk you through the beginning, but it's, I wish there was like, get you into the action. They get you into the action quick in the battle mech, but they don't let you get to customizing and like managing stuff. So, yeah. But it seems very fun. It's going to be, once again, going from God of War, in-depth, intense action, fast-paced combat, to strategic, turn-based mech combat, maximizing ranges, making sure that you're, managing how hot something is, how laser weapons overheat your mechs versus, firing long-range missiles and managing ammo of ballistic weapons. And then the cash flow of your spaceship, what you're paying your mech pilots, what jobs you're doing, what scrap you can get, then you can then turn into mech parts. Little bit different. Kind of a change up.
Yeah.
A little bit of a change up.
In that respect, you might like a game called Frostpunk that came out this week.
That was the other game that I bought and played. I do have Frostpunk. It is. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Victorian era, like because anything that is something punk is. It's a Victorian era steampunk, but what if like there was a great calamity and things started and like the snow started falling and never stopped, and they created these coal generators, and so you have to make some very interesting decisions. It's there's no it's a strategy game.
Mm.
There are no just free play modes. There's three scenarios, and to keep unlocking the scenarios, you have to beat the one before it. So there's the main game and that. Now, cool things about this. Number one, it's also like $24. So they're not forcing you to pay $60 for this kind of a thing. For a game with three scenarios. Number two, they give you different ways to adapt, to have your culture adapt. And you have to make some very interesting and tough decisions. Like one of the first choices is children. Do you have them work? Or do you have them have to go into shelters? And then do they work in menial regular jobs or do they work in all jobs? Like you could have children working in the mine, mining coal, because you're freezing to death and you need to get resources. Then there's like the dead. What do you do with them? Do you bury them and then like let's hope go up a little bit, or do you leave them in a big frozen body pile of bodies that you can then go back and harvest organs from to put back into people who could use them to, go back and work again. I'm not shitting you. These are the decisions you have to make.
See, I was thought they'd give you the option of burning them as well.
Nope. Heat is something you need to survive.
Mm.
Fire is something you need to survive. You don't have time to burn bodies. There's also other things too, like there's other places you can put the bodies. Like additives for the soup that you're making in the soup kitchens.
Oh, so you could be a bit cannibalistic.
One of the decisions you get to choose is, do you give people half rations?
Yeah.
Or do you give them soup additives? And the soup additives is basically just the meat soaked in a soup and then they put sawdust in it to make you feel more full after you eat it. Which, by the way, things that did happen in Victoria era. These are, but so you get all these hard choices. What did you miss? We're talking about Frostpunk and my games I've been playing. Will played a bunch of stuff, and I've only played three things. One of which was BattleTech. The other one is Frostpunk, which I'm talking about now. A really kind of cool thing about the game too, that it's there's three stories. Each one of them are different. The size of the crater that you're in is different. And it kind of tells you as you go through. It's telling you about kind of like this ice age that's happening. You figure out a little bit more bits and pieces of the ice age that's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But when you beat a scenario, and I've seen people beat scenarios, and so I'm not spoiling. What it does is actually gives you it kind of narrates the choices you made and kind of brings up like if there's major discontent or how you prevented a thing happening in the scenario, but it does it to a time lapse of your camp from an overview, and it slowly pans out of the crater, and it's not like a shot for shot time lapse. It's like something like shot like a couple minutes and different. So you start seeing buildings pop up, and you see like you as you slowly built out your craters and built out your structures and researched things and did things, and it's narrating what happens in the scenario and the choices you had to make story wise, as like you see your crater slowly build up and become a fully fledged town, and like where you deleted things and moved things up, so you watch it kind of expand and grow, and it's really interesting because you basically get to watch like an average scenario maybe it'd be like 3 hours of playing. But you get to see your 3 hours condensed into like a minute. And it's really quick and snappy, but it shows you like where you went from having this generator in one little hut to like having a full crater full of the steampunky thing with metal automatons running around doing stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. It's made by the people who made this War of Mine. So it is bleak. It is depressing. You have to make difficult choices. If you're having a bad day, do not play this game. Because it sets an ambiance, it sets a mood, and it does it real well. But you need to be in a certain state of mind to play it. If you're not having such a good day, play like God of War or Cat Quest, which is like $9, and you play a cute cat with a sword.
I will be starting out of the weekend.
You will be starting Cat Quest?
I will, yes.
It's actually a very good game.
I've heard that. That's the thing. It's like, it just, again, that's the thing about it. And the adventure powers is the graphics throw you off to something that underneath the hood is actually really good.
So, and the nice thing too with I'll go back to what I've been playing with Frostpunk. They're adding more scenarios.
Yeah.
You have 3 when the game came up, but you're adding more scenarios, and there's also difficulty levels. They start you at like a normal difficulty level, and then they can do it hard. But there's some replayability too, because there's 2 different branches. Once you've kind of like hit a certain point, it branches out into 2 different branches where you can basically either kind of go down a religious branch or an authoritarian branch. So it's like, how do you focus your people through like law, order, and discipline, or do you kind of make the generator into a religion? And so you can replay every scenario using going down those trees, and those trees affect which buildings you get, what choices you have to make, and how your society develops and evolves.
Nice.
So I really like it. It's from a small development studio. This War of Mine was a very interesting, once again, game. If you don't know what that is, it's about, the civil war is happening in a country, very kind of Eastern Bloc feeling country, and it's about like the civilians trying to survive during like its purpose. It's basically Syria, like right now, like living in Syria as a civilian. Before, this is a few years ago, but that's the best correlation I can give to you. And if these guys know anything, they know how to set a tone for a game. Also, like, Frostpunk is based in England, so you kind of have that pep.
Yeah, we moved from London. It's like, really?
Well, that's one of the, and I can tell you the scenario is one of the scenarios is, because it's Victorian era, is that they found a generator, they got it running again, all the people are together, and then the lords come. And so at that point you have a decision to make. What do you do about the civil divide? Because you have the commoners who got here first, created the generator, got everything going, and then the lords show up, and they want to be the lords. Oh, good. You've gotten it ready for us. Well, move on out. Move away from the nice places. We're going to set up our shop here, and you just keep doing what you're doing, peasants. And so you, like, have a decision to make. What do you do? Do you try to integrate and become one people because you all need to band together to survive in this hopeless area? Or do you just straight up murder everybody, the other side? And then which side do you side with?
I think that would be an easy choice, wouldn't it? If the Lord just shout, going, this is all ours, isn't it? And everybody, you start the war. It's like, well, I know whose side I'm on. The ones that can actually lift their hands and do dirty work.
I can tell you from seeing the scenarios, you never feel good at the end.
Yeah.
Like it's like they keep drilling into your head. This thing happens, but the society must survive. This happens, but the city must survive. So it is literally a game of what are you willing to give up and what are you willing to make your people sacrifice to survive.
Huh.
So yeah, once again, having a bad day, would not suggest playing it.
Yeah, keep it light if you're having a bad day. Keep it light.
Maybe play God of War. Now, still, if you're having a bad day, you may also not want to play God of War. Or if you do play God of War, just fight shit and explore. Don't progress the story.
Yeah.
Because, like, the killing is very satisfying. You just ripping people's heads off.
Story you hit. Stories.
Boy.
Very good.
Boy.
boy.
Remember, there's also the God of War drinking game.
Oh,
Take a
every time
shot, he says, boy. I suggest doing it with water. Because you probably still get water poisoning after a while, because, boy.
So is that what you've been playing, matey?
Yeah! That's
Are
pretty
you
much...
streaming any of it?
What?
Any of Frostpunk?
Maybe. It's the best I can give you. It's maybe. I will not stream God of War. That's for me. There's a ton of other people who are going to be playing it. As with anything we do with Tig Whippies here, is mainly just like I text Will, hey, X major title game has come out. Who else is streaming it? This person, this person. Well, I'm not streaming it then. And then I go and proceed to play said game and not stream anything because I'm playing said game.
No, what I am going to do next month is kind of like how I did with the Hellblade stream.
Right.
In May, Detroit Become Human will be coming out.
I have no interest in that game whatsoever, so it's all yours.
Wicked awesomeness. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did with Hellblade. Keep the chat away from the PS4. Have my mic on mute, so I'm not talking, so I can experience it, and you guys can experience what I choose at that point, rather than going backwards and forwards.
I have not beaten Ni no Kuni 2 yet, and Ni no Kuni 2 is very good. It's good. The thing is that like Ni no Kuni is something where like I could play for an hour and I'm good. Where like it doesn't draw me in and has gotten me as in depth as other stuff, because it's a lighter hearted game. It's a lot lighter, it's a lot nicer, and it's a lot more prettier and vibrant. And the combat isn't as like intense, it's not as violent, but like it's still nice. It's still a good game. The soundtrack for that game is awesome. The art direction is top notch. I mean, they have, I think, some of the art team from Studio Ghibli on it, and you can see it.
Yes.
That's the other thing too with like Ni no Kuni, is that like the game is like the side quests, when not needed, is very big into the into the game and like help building up your town. So like there'll be times where like I played it for 2 hours and all I did was like run around doing side quests to get people to go to my town and then like build up my town, and that does not make for a good streaming experience. That makes for like James is doing busy work. Granted, it gives me time to talk to chat, but when not a lot of people show up, it's, kind of just me playing a video game by myself at that point.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like,
And then I forget to unmute my mic, and I end up talking for like an hour, and this person's like, this guy's a dick. I said hi, and he never said hi back. When really, I just didn't unmute my mic.
Or OBS auto mutes you when you're playing a game, and then
Nope.
you realize what's happening.
I mean, or you may have played Heroes of the Stream for 2.5 hours with both your audio muted and the game audio muted, so it was just completely quiet. Heroes of 2 hours of Heroes of the Storm.
You were saying Studio Ghibli not involved in the second game, but they have taken lesson learned with the first.
I said there's like the art direction feels very Studio Ghibli. I mean, you look at it like they're not involved, but they're involved.
But yeah, I know Michael's not a fan of David Cage games, but I have Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. I got on with them, so and
Ethan,
I enjoyed when I played the thing.
Ethan, Ethan.
But it's so yeah, that's what I'll be doing next month.
Yeah, I just look at a game that was a tech demo, and I don't have high hopes for it. Like it was a tech demo that they decided to make into a video game. Just like I don't have high hopes for Final Fantasy VII Remake because it was a tech demo that they're trying to make into a video game, and that looks like it's going to be a hot mess. Press X for Jason. Yeah. Also, it's called Detroit Being Human.
Become Human, yeah.
Become Human. Like
it's I can see why they named it that, because they named it a little bit more coherent rather than Birth by Sleep.
It's still
It's AI wanting to feel like human beings, like wanting to fit in, wanting to get on.
but why
Have a
Detroit?
life.
Unless you're making a Deus Ex corollary
Or RoboCop.
or robot, yeah,
So, Detroit.
Detroit. Or does it happen in Detroit?
I think so.
Are we
Yeah.
just assuming that Detroit is like needs to become human? Like it makes no sense. What's the
So,
difference from me
throw your
saying
hands up for it.
Austin being human? Actually, Austin being human makes more sense because Austin's an actual name of that a person can have. I don't know. It's like Essex being human.
Oh no, you won't get them any of those down in Essex. Oh,
Oh, see, Will coming with the jokes this time, not me, not me, not this guy. This guy hasn't. I haven't gone there today. Yeah, but like,
actually,
why
it's really
did you?
good. The demo that we played of it, with the hostage situation, which is on PS Plus now, is actually really good. It's an enjoyable thing.
I just still don't. That's the other thing. Like for me, it's like it's. I know it's a choose your own adventure book,
Yeah,
but like, in the world of Telltale games, which I think do just as good a job. I think that like he's saying, David Cage could be a little heavy handed with the melodrama, and
yeah.
like it's a cool thing like AI becoming human, but also like once again I still give it Detroit. Is it set in Detroit?
I think it is. I
I
really do
hope
think
it's
it
set
is.
in Detroit because if it's not
Because
fucking set in Detroit, what?
it's just
Yangtze being human,
Basingstoke being human.
Belgium being human, Bayern being human, Munich being human.
And there is some heavy duty,
Rain.
story driven stuff in there. Like, the bit they showed that they got a lot of shit for the abusive storyline. Which again, if we want games to be more treated as up there with
Being
movies,
human.
TV shows, then you've got to deal with these sort of heavy issues in games too. And this is what David Cage is trying to do. He doesn't hit the mark often properly with them, but he's a trier. We got to give him that.
Here's the question though. If that's the case,
Mhm.
why not just name the game Being Human? Much better. I mean, I'm not shitting on Detroit. It's done enough in its own right to get its reputation. I don't need to add on top of it. It's already a flaming shit pile. You know what you did, Detroit. I don't need to tell you.
Yeah, fucking lions. Fucking lions.
Oh, sure, yeah, the Lions. That's the biggest problem with Detroit. Not like they can't, feed or shop their people, own people from getting murdered or, actually even get water to anybody decently.
Yeah, the whole war
No,
problem.
that's not a whole issue. No, but like, why? It's just call it Being Human. It makes sense. It's an AI game. It's about like robots coming their own idea. Just call it Being Human. It's fine. It's like Deus Ex or Ex Machina. That's what we need. It makes sense. 2 words. Perfect. Being Human. Ooh, is there a Being Human game out right now that was like in development? Is he like getting? Is he sponsored by Detroit? Is Detroit sponsoring this game?
I mean, as Paul or I am Crosshair put it in the stream, there was a TV series over here called Being Human about AI robots too. So maybe because of that, they put
Yeah,
Detroit
it
becoming
start
human.
it starred Carl Urban, but that's like it's like we're not gonna call this game Kingdom Hearts. We're gonna call it Neverland Kingdom Hearts because we have a word in front of it. EA has sued for less. Microsoft has sued for less, like they did with the freaking 360, the Halo thing. They said, "Whoa, we're not getting rid of the mods. We're just getting rid of all of our assets in it." So we're not shutting down the game, and we're not suing the people. We're just taking everything that the game is built on that's ours away.
But they are actually starting to sue people, aren't they? Or put
Yeah, they said they weren't
some
going to, but now they actually are. Or they're
some
at least a
DMCA
bit.
takedowns, aren't they, on
Yeah,
Halo? Which I'm sure you care to explain, James.
I read an article that Will sent me briefly that they basically said they're taking down all the Halo Online that a mod creator lovingly crafted for people, because it's just basically the base. It's the Halo we all come to know and love. And so 363 basically came out with Microsoft and says, no, 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 you can't stream that. It's because it's our stuff. We created it. Well, technically 363 Studios didn't create it. Bungie created all the original Halo assets. 363 just has the licensing to publish the new Halo stuff. But hell, who am I to say, right? Right? Who am I? But they're like, but don't worry, we're not going to sue that person. We're not taking that. We're just taking away all of the assets that are technically ours. Now you think about this for a second. So we're not shutting down the game. We're not suing the people. We're telling them just to take down any evidence that this game ever existed on a digital video format section, and take down all of the project assets that look like Halo. I'm not taking your car. I'm just taking your wheels, your doors, and your engine out. You still have the car. Just everything that makes it work as a car is gone. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Does it?
It doesn't. I mean, I do like some of the bits they're on about here, though.
You put a
It's
lipstick on a
O'Connor.
pig, it's still a fucking pig.
You've seen the way they're talking about the workaround for it to stop it being taken down.
What? I didn't read down that part.
It's saying in there, a guy called O'Connor addressed these Twitch bans, calling them overzealous, but he did suggest fans stream El Dorito under a game name different to Halo Online to avoid Microsoft's gaze.
Question. Is it being streamed on Mixer?
I don't know.
That would be funny. I mean, number one, that they're actually streaming something on Mixer. But number two, it's
When Microsoft say, well, it's under our copyright now.
it's kind of like the dick thing. Like I'm playing Whalo Whores.
What's
Which
that?
sounds like a really interesting game, actually.
Yeah. It does. This is like, was this like a brothel simulator?
No. It's a host club simulator.
Oh, like in Yakuza's.
Yeah, like
I
in
like it.
Yakuza's. Yeah, exactly. Except we have to really name it correctly. Okay?
Yes.
So
yes.
so obviously the game name isn't just Whalo Whores.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bangladesh, Whalo Whores, Thinking of You 24/7, Birth by Sleep 6.2.5.1.10.
Beta
Remix.
Because
Featuring Bob Saget.
That's the host. It's the main host. But yeah, for speaking of those, those bars and those areas where ladies you can get dates with and Yakuza's, Sega may consider bringing Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 to the PlayStation 4 if there's demand. Which I, for one, can say yes, please, Sega, please do, because I recently bought 0, Kiwami, and 6. So I would like to play all of those in one back-to-back game, over weeks. Because I remember playing these on the PlayStation 2 and 3, and they're batshit crazy, but they were fun. Tough in places with the bosses, but they were fun. So yes, please, Sega, please do it. Please do it. But yeah, so they are potentially looking at that. So if you want them...
Bye, Michael. Have a great evening.
Good night, Michael. But yeah, if you want them as well, just say on Twitter, tweet to Sega, say please do this. I'm sure they'll actually pass it on to people who need to say it. But yeah, so they're saying, however, Sato states that if there's enough demand, Sega may consider bringing them over. We certainly wouldn't say no to a complete Yakuza collection on PS4, which would be nice, which would be awesome. And, not many loot boxes in those.
Yeah, if you're in Belgium, loot boxes are gambling and illegal. So.
Yep, they have declared it. They have declared loot boxes are gambling and therefore illegal.
When's the last time Belgium declared anything and, the rest of the world listened?
Their chocolate was good.
They didn't declare it, though, the rest of the world. And I bet you the Swiss have something to say about that.
They're just counting down on their clocks.
Looking at their dikes.
Because they got little kids, sticking their fingers in to plug the gaps. The dikes are going, boy!
And for those who want dikes, hold back water. And their windmills.
Yes.
And their clogs. Their wooden clogs.
And their tulips and their cafes. And their canals.
Belgium waffles are wonderful. They should never be illegal.
Even though that's Netherlands and Amsterdam. We're somewhere else entirely. We're going around Europe for stuff.
Pretty much. We've already hit Detroit. But then again, what's Detroit really
Detroit become Netherlands.
Detroit doesn't have enough money to sue anybody, so it's not a big deal. We're pretty safe there. Yeah, I know, right? Germany, Germany's had enough. We don't really need to do enough. Germany's like,
they push out great cars and racing drivers, so we'll leave them alone now. They're good. They're fine. We like them. So yeah, that's pretty much the news as well. We wait for the news and and what we've been playing. So the only other things we have to do, because this is actually quite a long podcast tonight, which is nice. We have the trophy challenge to catch up on, and yeah, as I said last week, it is really heating up now. We're starting to get into the final sort of third of this challenge now, because I know even though Gio is not halfway yet to hit from his total, I am well over halfway now. Last week he was on 1,624 trophies. He has now put on another about 141. So he's now down to 1,483 trophies. He has almost got the gap down to 1,000 trophies or less. And then last week I was at 455. I'm now down to 394. This is after 3 months. I think we could have this done. Maybe I'm guessing around July, but I'm going to push for having it done for myself before episode 100, if not on the week of episode 100. And that is the trophy challenge for this week. So all we have left to do is shout outs now. Shout outs and we can bugger off for another week. So yeah, you got any shout outs, James?
I do.
Absolutely
do. I would like to shout out to give me a second here. By the way, is anybody else getting emails of everybody of all of the stuff saying hey, it's time to update your terms and conditions? And we're like, is this because of Facebook? I really think this is because of Facebook. The reason why Google, Twitter and YouTube all sent out new terms and conditions. It's are you?
Yeah, I got the new Facebook stuff and Twitter stuff.
So, Ed Sheeran Lover 04, great name, at Dark Designer 415. Thank you for following. We appreciate it. Reese, thank you for watching that ad. Was it good? Was it nice? It wasn't the McDonald's ad again. I know, I missed the McDonald's ad. Was it Jeep? Was it the Dodge Charger and Challenger ad? There it is, Detroit sneaking into the stream again, trying to be up in our business. Listen, Detroit.
We need sponsorship money if you're going to be up in our business, Detroit. I know you haven't got it, but we want some of it.
They don't have the money to do it. That's the third movie, by the way. There was Escape from L.A., Escape from New York, and next we did Escape from Detroit. Because I'm pretty sure it looks like Escape from New York and L.A. right now. It doesn't need to be the post-apocalyptic future. It just needs to be now.
Was that whoa? I wouldn't say L.A. after the earthquake was that bad.
If you're from Detroit, at me at the game will play itself. Thank you to 8 ounces now. Everybody, stay hydrated, bot. Bam, helping us out. We are worried about your health.
I need more. Yeah, I need more. I'm out.
What happened to that bottle of Iron Brew?
Well, I went through it and then I thought, rather than get rid of the bottle, I'll actually recycle the bottle and use it for water to keep myself hydrated, you see. And now I've just run out of water again, so I'm going to need some more. Because
so is the game... So we're also, like, working towards 0 carbon emissions now? The game won't play itself? One bottle at a time?
Yep, one bottle at a time.
One bottle at a time, we're recycling. See, unlike in Detroit or anywhere else in Michigan, Will can actually drink the tap water in England.
Yeah, without fear.
Without fear.
It's crazy, isn't it? This is one day, Detroit, you'll get there. You'll get there. Keep trying.
Flint.
Keep pushing.
Flint is close to Detroit. We're ballparking it at this point. I know that was my own joke, but we're getting there.
So any other shout outs, matey?
Polo and Sam for being around here, for all Bill at the Ages, Polo and Sam. I am Crosshair, Scold, and Stay Hydrated Bot, and Reese's Wave, and Lardteamaker for all being here to the end. Michael Patterson had to leave early. We appreciate him being here. Thank you all for chatting. It's been a lot of fun. Reese, I do know you posted a Battle Royale thing further up in the chat. I do know this because I actually have a thing that has been recording the chat. So we will probably use this. Bill has been lurking. Good. I didn't see you in the chat list, so I couldn't say. But I'm glad at least you were listening. That makes me happy. At least people are hearing the sound of my voice. So the draft idea, and I think if Chris is back next week from, causing power outages in Detroit, trying to make it human. Just that's the theme of the episode. Just tying it up, trying to put a bow on the steaming pile of shit that is Detroit.
Tig Whippy become podcasters.
Tig Whippy's become podcasters. No, it's boy tonight.
Boy,
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
The Detroit boy.
Detroit can't keep back. All right, but the problem is that sounds like it should almost be like a Beastie Boys kind of thing. Detroit boy.
Each is raving gang.
Dun dun. Because God of War is sabotage. Didn't. Now I'm gonna have to put together a compilation meme of Kratos murdering people to sabotage, and actually I won't because it involves me editing anything, and it's just I can't be bothered. But yeah, Battle Royale next week. Chris is back. Make it RPG squad: a healer, a black mage, a warrior, a tank, a long range, using video game characters except from an RPG/MMO.
Mm-hmm.
What I will do, Reese, is I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this and magically turn it into tank, healer, melee DPS, and range DPS. Mainly because those are actual MMO fighting terms. So you've got your healer, your tank, and then usually your 2 to 4 DPS. So it makes more sense versus a mage and a long range. because they could technically be the same role.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your mages up with the tanks. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They don't usually wear the heavy armor and they get squished.
Yeah, so you're basically looking mage, warrior, rogue, archer.
And they can't be from
It's
RPGs and / MMOs. Now the question is, like any kind of RPG, like even a game that has some RPG elements in it. Hence, like God of War. Because it's easier to say Kratos tank.
Shit.
It's really easy. I mean, it's also really easy to say Doom Guy tank.
And that would also mean then Geralt's out because The Witcher is an RPG.
The Witcher is definitely an RPG. Like, you can get away with probably God of War. You could definitely get away with Doom Guy. Geralt, there's no way in hell I would let anybody have that. And don't be freaking cute and be like, but Geralt from Soul Calibur.
No, because he's originally in
franchise.
an RPG. Yeah.
Also, Mario technically was in an RPG. And multiple RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
So, think hard. Think hard on this one.
I'm going to have to.
By the way, also, like, Doom Guy has gone in every single one of these, so I'm just interested to see who gets to pick him first. By the way, I have yet to pick Doom Guy. I also just go out into left field, too.
Games not heavy RPG like, but games that have like RPG elements, I'd say okay.
So you're saying like a game like a God of War is okay, that has like a skill-based buying system for the game, but it isn't necessarily an RPG because you could technically buy none of the skills and still beat the game fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, The Witcher is not that kind of a game. The Witcher is an RPG. You would not get that. Sorry. Geralt is off the books for this one.
Yeah, completely. I can understand that.
Yeah, no Geralt.
Yeah, I can understand.
Also, no Deus Ex characters. No Adam Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
He's out. Also, Reese, are we talking like fantasy characters too? Like, is it like we're talking like traditional like MMO kind of like fantasy? Because I think like a Nathan Drake having to be like the range DPS in a fantasy setting would be freaking hilarious.
That'd work though.
I already know what my first pick is too.
I honestly don't know my first pick now.
Oh,
it would have been Kratos. It would have been Kratos for a tank.
You could pick Kratos as take if you want. I can sneak peek you mine. What my first pick will be.
I think we should wait.
It's gonna be range DPS.
Yeah.
Range DPS.
I think I know my range actually.
If yours is the same as mine, we might have problems.
It may well do, but
I can tell you, it's good. It's a good pick, strong pick.
Yeah.
It's also from a blended genre as well. Let's think about that.
I think I know mine. But yeah, so on that note then, we shall finish up.
Yeah, let's do that. I should have pulled up music while I was talking, but instead we're gonna pull it up now because James like having things that make things nice. Here's a story of me padding, trying to fill the time while I'm looking through all my music to find what's right. It's Tig Whippies. It's Tig Whippies. We half-ass this show almost all the time. It's Tig Whippies. It's Tig Whippies. I'm ad-libbing so I can find it right there.